The estate of matrimony is a special one and not to be entered lightly, but rather with self-examination, mutual commitment, and personal resolve. Keeping these precepts in mind, with clear judgment and purpose, I ask you, do you, Dirk Scott, take Samantha Hope, here present, to be your lawful wedded wife?
Nobody asked your opinion. It's my wedding, damn it!
Do you, Samantha Hope, take Dirk Scott, here present, to be your lawful wedded husband?
If you want to know my opinion, I think it's all just a big waste of money. Why don't you just give us what it costs, and then we can buy some terrific video equipment?
Just a minute. You have some qualms, don't you, about marrying somebody who seems that greedy and selfish? But you're not really that indifferent to your family's feelings, are you? And you're not quite such a materialistic tyrant as all that. Then why did you allow the planning of your wedding to bring out the worst in you? You kept saying you wanted it to be perfect. Let's do it all over and see if we can make it better.
Here we are, ma'am. Now, our special this evening is the New York strip steak that comes with a baked potato with sour cream, butter, chives, bacon bits, and parsley flakes. It also comes with a Caesar salad with our house dressing in a pita pocket baked in our own kitchen. Now, can I get you anything to drink before dinner? Very good, ma'am.
My parents are bugging me again. What do you think? Well, we've been together more than a year now. Seem to get along okay. You see anything you like?
I don't know. Maybe the avocado salad. I know. Don't think mine aren't reminding me that my biological clock is ticking away. What about you?
Well, you know me. Fettuccine Primavera. Well, it's not that I feel like we have to make it legal or anything. I feel good about us the way we are. We could keep separate accounts. Anything happens, just remember the CD player's mine.
Yeah, but I bought the amplifier and most of the discs. Oh, I know. All of our friends are getting married, and I'm sick to death of going to weddings and having everyone ask me when I'm getting married. My parents are complaining that they don't know what to call you. Daddy refuses to say significant other. Mom says it sounds dirty.
So? You think we should?
Should what? Oh. Well, sure. Why not? Oh, well, that's settled. I guess we should order something better than the house wine, then.
Now, is everything all right here?
No. You call that a marriage proposal?
What? Are you serious? Sam? Sam? Samantha,
Shall I take your order now? Or shall I give you a few more minutes?
Samantha, I love you madly. I can't bear to think of life without you. Will you marry me?
Oh. Well, yes, Dirk. I guess we can deal with it. I mean, well, the truth is, it's not because of my parents or my friends getting married. The real reason is I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
things are looking up already. Where's the wine? It's high time we rescued weddings from these perversions and put a little grace and romance back into this transaction. Yes, this proposal is the old-fashioned, conventional one. It's not tough nor original. But let me tell you, there is nothing more conventional and traditional than falling in love. But can you keep this up? It's quite an ordeal to take something as private as a romance and translate it into something that is rightfully part of the larger society, your family and your friends. Let's start with the family. The first thing that happens after the engagement is that his family calls on hers.
Fiona, get your feet down right now. Those glasses off. I'm sure they're perfectly lovely people.
I'm sure.
Dirk, if he thinks he's going to bring that bimbo he's now calling his wife, I'm not going to be there.
See? She wants to run everything, but guess who she expects to pay all the bills?
You two, please try not to do this in front of the drivers. They're very refined people. I don't want them to get the wrong idea.
Just keep her off my back.
Everybody ready? Dirk, darling.
Driver, how do you do? Good evening. This is my mother, Adelaide.
Oh, well,
Miss Driver, my father, Clifford. Hey,
hello. I know you're
How are you? Nice to meet you. Mother and father. How do you do?
Lovely.
Where's Samantha?
Oh, she's upstairs, hiding.
She's just getting herself beautiful.
So I had the lemon in my ear, and the guy looks at me and he says, say, do you know you have a lemon in your ear? And I said, well, you've heard of the guy with the hearing aid? Well, I'm the guy with the lemonade. Well, Cliff, I suppose you know that I have a certain position in the community, and there are going to be a lot of people who will expect to attend.
Oh, of course, we must divide the number of invitations evenly between the two families, dear.
Well, certainly, of course. I'm sure you'll want to have Sam and Dirk's friends on your list, and I suppose you have some relatives.
Well, yeah, about our names on the invitation. It's Mr. Clifford Dearborn, and my present wife, Courtney, uses her professional name. What are you calling yourself these days, Adelaide?
Your names? I'm afraid I don't quite understand. You can give the rehearsal dinner, of course. We want it at our club, but don't worry. We'll let you know what it costs.
Oh, I hope it's going to be semi-formal. This is the current blushing bride. And look, pink tuxedos. Oh, hey, I get to walk down the aisle first because I'm the sister. And I want to wear hot pink to go with my usher's tie and cummerbund. Oh, do you have any good-looking friends with Corvettes? I'm not walking down the aisle with anyone cheap or ugly.
You're not walking anywhere.
Oh, yes, she is. She's your sister.
So what? Half-sister anyway, and half-wit.
Hey, it's my father who's paying for all this, not yours.
I think we just want to try to keep the whole thing casual. We don't want our friends to feel like they have to dress up. The important thing is that everybody feels comfortable.
Ever since I was 6 years old, I dreamed of having a long lace dress with a cathedral train. I want a blusher veil and a regular illusion veil all the way down the back. And I want a crown of flowers in my hair, and I want it to match my bouquet. And I might want to carry a parasol. And I want real white silk stockings with appliques on the insteps. And I don't want Aunt Flossie there. She hates me.
Darling, she gave your cousin Zoe 4 place settings. Do you know what silver costs these days?
Samantha, I have my dinner jacket from the Quota Busters Award dinner, and I'm going to wear it. And it's not going to matter what you wear. When we walk down the aisle, arm in arm, you're going to look terrific.
Oh, well, Henry, I sort of asked Daddy to walk me down the aisle.
Daddy? You mean your biological daddy? Your dear biological daddy who offered to pay for the booze and then says he wants a cash bar? Look, I'm paying for the food, the hall, the flowers, your dress, your mother's dress, your sister's dress, the band, a wedding present, and God knows what else. I don't think Irwin can even make his way down the aisle. Does he have a tie?
Oh, Dirk, now please about the band. Find one that can play some music we can dance to, because I don't want to be blasted silly.
Mom, we get to pick the music. It's our wedding.
And, like, nobody gets to eat or drink before you do?
You know, if you want to know my opinion, I think that it's just a big waste of money. I mean, why don't you just give us what it costs, and then we can get some terrific video equipment.
Nobody asked your opinion. It's my wedding, damn it!
Interesting question. Whose wedding is it? Hers? Theirs? Their parents? Whoever cares to buy it by paying all the bills?
Well, that ought to give us some clout anyway.
What? Henry, listen.
Unlike certain other aspects of marriage, which we won't list here,
Like what?
the wedding is not privately owned by the bridal couple. Nor are honors such as who gives the bride away to be auctioned off to the highest bidder.
Well, that's not what I...
The bride's parents are generally the hosts, which is why their names are on the invitations and not the bridegroom's parents.
Oh, that doesn't seem quite proper.
Proper? What would you know about proper? You even slept through high society.
The invitations aren't movie credits, you know. Bridegroom based on an idea by... Yes, it is becoming increasingly common for the bridegroom's parents to give the rehearsal dinner just to relieve the bride's parents a little. But they can't be required to entertain.
That sounds a little better.
Their one duty, and some people think that this is harder than everything that the bride's parents have to do put together, is to run around saying relentlessly how lovely everything is, beginning with the bride, even if they have to keep their fingers crossed behind their backs. You think you can manage that?
We'll practice.
He'll practice.
But the wedding belongs to everyone. To families who are included by relationship, not by whim or financial expectation. You can't exclude Aunt Flossie. Or even Uncle Chester, although we all know that he takes his old Christmas presents and rewraps them and sends them out as wedding presents.
I guess you're right.
And it belongs also to friends of all generations. Keeping in mind who really are friends, because it's not an opportunity to do business entertaining. The taste and the consideration for everybody must be considered.
See? Now I want hot pink.
Well, maybe not everybody. Where on earth do you get such rude rules as not letting guests eat or drink while the bridal party is busy?
That's in the magazine.
I'll give out the etiquette information around here, if you please. Think of this as an opportunity to practice consideration for others, a very useful trait to have if you're getting married.
But we do want it to be personal and really about us.
Oh, that's so important. Like, why don't you put in that bit from the prophet? You know, that's really you.
I hate that bland cake they always make.
Why don't you do that peanut butter thing you do?
You're not asking me to wear a tuxedo, are you? I'm a casual kind of guy. I thought this was going to be a friendly wedding, not a formal one.
Oh, come on, Keith.
No way you're getting me into a monkey suit.
Well, do the guys have to be formal just because we are? Well, the important thing is that everybody has a good time. I was at a wedding once where everybody was asked to hug the person next to them. I thought it was really meaningful.
Well, in that case, you have to let people know from the beginning that you want them to participate. Have you seen those invitations with the bridal couple's picture on them, or a special message like, we invite you to join us in this moment of our love? Anyway, Sam, I've been meaning to talk to you about that dress you showed me with the yellow bow. I just don't see it. It will look terrible on Nicole and Michelle. And I don't see how we're going to get any use out of it afterwards.
Are Nicole and Michelle going to expect to be bridesmaids?
Well, sure. In school, we always said we were going to be in each other's weddings.
I know, but Nicole will be in her 6th month by then, which will look awful. And frankly, Michelle is awful just the way she looks. I was thinking about asking Gretchen.
I thought you couldn't stand her.
Yes, but she's the right height. And her looks are, well, she's sort of washed out, but it would make a nice contrast. I'm working on my tan.
Yeah, ask Gretchen. No point in having Nicole or any of your other married friends. Hey, you asked me to round up bachelors?
We're not going to find enough of them, though, unless you're willing to count separated as being single.
Anyway, the dresses are going to be in puce. Oh, Dirk, I forgot to tell you. My grandmother is wearing gray lace, and your grandmother's supposed to match, so you'd better tell her.
What about Candy?
Who's Candy?
I told you. Grandpa's girlfriend. She's supposed to match, too?
I don't know.
You can't have your grandfather's girlfriend.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of that? Where are you going to put her, for God's sake? It's bad enough you want Jason and Natasha, Dirk. I don't think the groom's children belong.
At least I'm not asking their mother to bring them. Although Margot is pretty good at a party. Grandpa won't come without Candy. Well, he says they get married, but Social Security. And he's got all the money. I got news for you. My kids don't come. I don't either.
I can't take this anymore. Why can't we have normal families like the ones in the wedding charts?
What the hell is puce?
Never mind about the puce. Please stop trying to force your family and friends into set roles that you or anyone else envisions for them. You're supposed to want to have your family and friends around you on this occasion, not to get appropriate ones for the occasion and exclude the old set because they don't look right.
Yes, but we want everybody to look, you know, just perfect.
Then why don't you hold auditions? You could get a perfectly matched chorus line and maybe some charming old character actors to serve as relatives.
Forget the relatives. I want to meet Candy.
And please hold the costume department, haranguing grown women, mothers and grandmothers, to make them do something silly like looking alike. You can trust them to dress. They're grown women.
But we really want the ceremony to be, what's the word?
Casual?
Personal.
Yeah.
And you're going to personalize it by excluding everyone you know? And don't try to do it either by forcing people to listen to your taste in literature or amateur theatrics featuring confessions from your courtship. Bragging about your sex life in a wedding is not only embarrassing and possibly boring, it's redundant. You're participating in one of the most important conventions of our society, and you do this by conforming to society's traditions, which I assure you are quite as beautiful as anything that you could think up on the spot. And besides, you have the whole marriage to be individuals in.
So much for casual. I don't know if I want to play.
Oh, don't say that, Keith.
Partners forever.
You could have an informal wedding that would be charming with handwritten invitations and informal clothes. But if you're going to have a formal one, don't mess with it. Use the third-person invitations and the proper clothes. What makes a wedding truly personal and charming and friendly is the participation of your circle. Never mind what your family composition is, your relatives, your quasi-relatives, children, Candy. The point is that they are your family. You didn't pick them for their looks. Here's a nice, personal, formal invitation. Mrs. Phelps Henry Stryver and Mr. Irwin Applegum request the pleasure of your company at the marriage of their daughter, Samantha Hope, to Mr. Dirk Scott Dearborn on Saturday, the 9th of June at 6:30, the Racket Club. The favor of a reply is requested. Now, it could also have been Mr. and Mrs. Stryver and the marriage of her daughter, or with the full formal cathedral train, the honor of your presence instead of the pleasure of your company. And the favor of a reply can be written RSVP. Or the whole invitation could equally well be, informally, a handwritten letter. Samantha and Dirk are being married on Saturday, and we'd be so pleased if you could be with us. But please, black ink on white or cream paper, and no funny business with wedding bells, deckled edges, or pop-up paper dolls.
I assure you, madame, I do all of the best weddings, and everyone expects a full dinner. Buffet, of course, if you can afford to do it right. I would suggest 3 courses minimum. We can serve with 1 wine with the champagne, but most people really expect both white and red. Then the champagne with the choice of dessert, and then the wedding cake.
Small
children in miniature versions of the gowns and tuxedos are being done by the very best people. Of course, you saw the royal wedding on television. We'll need something special to distinguish the groom from the rest of the boys. And I see the mothers in picture hats. Burgundy, perhaps? Well, naturally, we'll need corsages for all the ladies of the family. Your mothers, grandmothers, aunts, and cousins, and then boutonnieres for all of the men of the family. I find baby's breath and silk ribbons attached to the doors of the limousines are particularly charming. I don't care if the reception's across the street from the ceremony. I mean, you're still going to need at least 5 limousines. I mean, you can't expect the bridesmaids to walk in long gowns now, can you? And what about the bride's mum and her grannies? Supposing it rains?
3 musicians? Look, why don't you just rent a monkey and an accordion? Now, seriously, I mean, to get a full sound, you gotta have at least 5. And of course, I'll be acting as your master of ceremonies.
Well, and if you don't care what people think, you can skip anything you want. Skip the wedding cake, skip the champagne, and just trying to tell you that people expect personalized matchbooks and those little boxes so they can carry their cake home. And, oh, yeah, you're going to need a silver cake-cutting knife.
I'm monogrammed with the couple's initials and the date.
You're absolutely right. And, oh, don't forget about your souvenir napkins. See, your guests expect all of these things unless, of course, you just don't care.
Only silver is proper for the gifts for the wedding party. Something monogrammed with the couple's initials and the date. I suggest bracelets for the bridesmaids, though the ushers like them a lot these days. Let's think of something really special for the maid of honor and best man.
And you'll want thank you notes with your names on them, and we can emboss the thank you in gold. Now, have you considered what stamps you want to use on the response cards? The American flag stamp is very patriotic, but it doesn't strike the right note. But the love stamp that leans to the right, very nice. The other love stamp has a dog on it, and some people think that's just not appropriate. Well, if finance is a problem, we can always save money on the engraved invitations. You see, we do a beautifully raised print. Nobody can tell the difference between that and real engraving.
Nobody? I'm not suggesting that these people are just a little self-serving, but they are giving out a great deal of misinformation disguised as etiquette.
5 courses, 3 wines, second cousins. While they're on their honeymoon, I'll be in bankruptcy court.
Unless you come from a tradition that requires that everyone go home with heartburn in order that the marriage be considered binding, wedding cake, a few tea sandwiches, and champagne, or non-alcoholic punch are perfectly acceptable, even chic as wedding fare. Just don't hold the reception at mealtime.
I thought that stationery was so cute. I just love tradition. And we should get a chart so we have a place to put all the traditional response cards.
Response cards are not really traditional. And besides, anyone who doesn't have the decency to answer a wedding invitation probably won't use those either. Or else they'll use them as an opportunity to jot down their own guest list of people they want to entertain at your wedding.
Well, don't they make thank you notes that you can just sign?
They probably do, but don't use them. You must write a letter, however short. Use wide margins the way you did on your papers in school. On your paper, plain or marked, or his. Make him write some of the thank you letters to people. Only one person can write a letter, although you include the affection and appreciation of the other. You know, Dirk is just crazy about that orange lamp, and he sends his love.
Orange? That's the only color tuxedo we haven't looked at, isn't it? No, we forgot lime green.
Men's clothing is supposed to provide a dignified background to the real wedding finery. And informal means a blue suit, not blue jeans. And the formal is for daytime, a cutaway with striped pants, and for evening, white tie or black tie, as you're going to do. Just no ruffled shirts, please, or anything cute, except the gentlemen themselves.
Well, how are we going to be able to tell the bridegroom from the ushers?
Look at their faces.
You know, children scare me. Although little tykes in mini tuxedos might be a nice touch.
No wonder they scare you. Children belong in children's party clothes and not miniature versions of adults' clothes.
My dear Miss Manners, I dare say the striver is apple gum. Dearborn, it is so difficult to keep all of you people straight. Their wedding should be memorialized with appropriate mementos.
Lots of paper goods with silver writing all over it, and big badge-like corsages to distinguish the women, and expensive music and limousines, and none of these things are obligatory. And a master of ceremonies is a terrible idea. I think you can trust your friends to make offensive remarks without any professional help. The trinket trade in useless initialed objects is, if anything, in questionable taste.
You mean I don't have to spend a fortune in order to be in good taste?
It will be in better taste if you don't.
Oh.
See, I just saved you a bundle.
We bow to your wishes.
Wow, $100,000.
What is this, a trend? We got 2 wedding invitations in the mail today. Who on earth are Popsy and Lance? Oh, I see the Apple Gum girls getting married. High time. Wonder how much that'll cost us.
Popsy and Lance invite you to share in the celebration of our love. What the hell do they expect us to do? I wouldn't join that twerp in anything he did, let alone having to touch him.
Wait, we have to answer it. Oh, no, I don't think people expect that anymore. We do have to go to the Strivers, though. Our kids will get a kick out of this one.
And your mother, too. She loves weddings and funerals. Might as well get our money's worth.
It's funny they didn't put everybody's name on the envelope. They must want them, though. The Strivers do things right.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be ashamed giving her a big wedding like that.
Yeah, those kids have been telling us all for years now. They don't need a legal commitment. I still remember the time she didn't come home from her junior prom.
I can think of at least 3 other reasons besides Dirk she shouldn't be married in white.
Did I miss the part where you said, oh, how nice? Well, I mean, I understand that you think that people just get married and graduate from school and have babies in order to extract presents from their long-suffering friends. But it is considered decent to have just one warm feeling before you cut them to ribbons. If you don't care about them, don't go. You don't even have to send them a present.
We don't?
No. Just write and say that you regret that you're unable to accept. No excuse necessary. And then when you get a chance later, wish them well.
Do we have to write?
Yes, you have to write. Have you ever given a party, no matter how small, where you didn't care to know in advance how many people were coming? Nor are people thrilled when they find out that the number attending exceeds the number invited. If their names are not on the invitations, they weren't invited and they can't go.
What if it says, and family?
Yeah, sometimes they just put a note on the bulletin board down at the office.
Those people deserve what they get.
Yeah.
Now, about the big joke, a white wedding dress is traditionally associated with a first wedding. It's not supposed to be truth in packaging that tells you about the condition of the body inside the dress. A wedding is a wedding. It's not the same thing as ad hoc housekeeping.
Ad what?
Living together.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the form of the courtship that determines the form of the wedding. Now, try this. Or Oh, look, the Applegum girl is getting married. How nice. Splendid. I hope they'll both be very happy.
Oh, look. Splendid. I can't.
Oh, well, there's a month before the wedding. You have time to practice.
Yeah.
In the meantime, get a pen. Mr. and Mrs. Leonard Mulch, center it. Accept with pleasure.
That's 2 C's. Leonard.
The kind invitation of Mrs. Stryver and Mr. Applegum for Saturday, the 9th of June at 6:30. See? By the way, your bird's upside down.
By my count, we've had 12 telephone calls with 6 definite acceptances, 3 maybes. One might be out of town, one who's looking for a babysitter, and one who didn't know if she'd be in the mood. 5 people who want to know if they can bring dates, and 2 people who actually looked it up in Miss Manners and sent formal answers. Would you believe that one of those was Dorcas and Leonard Mulch?
No.
I didn't even know they could read. And 76 who haven't answered.
See, I told you should have gotten response cards. Okay, they have a big M for Mr. and Mrs., and then a line for number of persons.
Well, listen to my list if you want to get depressed. 5 Cuisinart attachments, but no Cuisinart. 1 homemade coupon offering babysitting services. That is really nasty. Should I give that to the person who can't find one? 4 popcorn poppers, 11 crock pots.
I told you we should have put in the invitation. We have all the stuff we need. What about some cash?
Oh, people have already thought of that. We've gotten at least 6 checks, $25 or less. The cheapskates. When I think of all the money that we've spent when their kids got married on silver trays.
Well, silver plate, dear.
We've got more presents here than we've gotten responses from the wedding invitations. I just don't have time to write every single one of them. And besides, nobody expects those dumb thank you notes anymore about, oh, we're just crazy about the silver French fry slicer.
I don't have any idea how many people to expect, except all those strangers other people want to bring. Well, I don't care for myself, of course, but what am I going to tell the caterer?
Yes, you do care. It's not just the commercial demands of the situation. I thought the idea was that you wanted to gather your intimate circle of family and friends for this occasion. Oh, and your intimate circle of business acquaintances. But I'm afraid if people don't answer, you must prompt them. I do hope we'll see you at Samantha's wedding. It would mean so much to us. Well, no, I'm afraid we can't have small children. Yours are so well behaved, but then we'd have to have them all, and I'm afraid they might find it tedious. Jennifer's boyfriend, well, no, if they're engaged, of course, but otherwise we're just having our friends, people we already know. We do hope we'll see you there. Don't let them bully you into using your wedding reception as a nightclub to entertain their guests. And by the way, do you really think that Dorcas and Leonard Mulch sent you a present for the sheer joy of it? And they have no such mundane desire as wanting to be thanked? I'm afraid you must write everybody.
Everybody?
Well, you can skip the people who skip sending you presents.
Okay, big smile now. Good. All right, let's go over to Candid's one more time. See, I find people get carried away. At the reception, they start wandering around, socializing, whatnot. I just can't get what I want for the album. Give me warm, sir. I need more warm. Good. All right, so we can start up the morning. Shooting the bride, getting dressed. Don't worry, dear, I've seen a million of them. Then mother buttoning up, back of dress, maid arranging, veil. Dear, meditate and let your hair relax. Good. Then we're going to have the sister putting the lucky coin in your shoe. Yeah. And then you're going to be arranging your makeup. Yeah, good. Then I got to leave you. Got to dash off. Sorry about that. Got to get the nervous groom getting dressed. Then we're going to get the best man checking pocket for wedding ring. And then the funny guys handing all the funny stuff all over the honeymoon card. Then it's back to the bride's house for an in-depth shot of the wedding gifts. Also, shot of bride with family dog. You got a family dog, dear? Good. All right. Then, bride leaving, dog looking out window, bride getting into limousine, father getting into limousine, smile on limousine driver's face, limousine pulling away. Then, in-depth shot through the bay window of one sad-looking dog.
Is this going to be a wedding or a photo opportunity? And this is just a still photographer. Wait till you talk to the videotaper and the oral historian. What most people end up with instead of memories is an expensive record of something that never took place. The principals were too busy following instructions to enact the photographer's list of cliches to realize that they were also getting married, or to allow whatever might happen at such a gathering to happen. The real moments, the ones which are truly beautiful to remember, are the little unexpected or private things. The smile at the altar, the tears of someone you didn't think cared, that the camera couldn't expect and probably didn't catch. The photographer has to be told that it's not his wedding. And he needs the meaning of the term candid explained to him.
Final shot of bride in tears.
Okay, that was the photographer. The dresses will be ready Tuesday. I've got to change the count with the caterers. The wedding cake is ordered, though. What else do I have to do? Mama's hair appointment's set. Dirk's got the rings. Aunt Reba needs a hotel room. Oh, Fiona's shoes don't fit. What about the bridesmaids, Crystal?
Oh, I was afraid of this, remember? Oh, can we now forget about childish fantasies and spending money in vulgar ways to impress people? Do you still want to get married?
Do you think we can do it without coming to hate each other?
And without having to mortgage Fiona to pay for it?
Yes, I do, and it will be in better taste and your friends will like it better. Did you decide who will give the bride away?
It really ought to be Daddy.
Well, of course. Naturally. But don't forget, I'm still your daddy, too.
Oh, Henry.
And Dirk's stepmother?
Oh, I'll be polite to her if I have to.
Let me tell you something. You want to. If you treat her with overwhelming charm, instead of her thinking that she took a prize away from you, she'll begin to worry why you seem so grateful to her for taking him off your hands. Are there any other questions we ought to settle now?
Can we make any changes in the ceremony? I mean, I don't mind if Samantha has to promise to obey me, but I doubt if she'll be able to keep her word.
Well, you can edit it, of course. All I'm against is rewriting it into a whole new drama. But you're going to have your real friends in it, aren't you?
Oh, yes. But what about the people at the office?
And my office.
Well, we're not going to do business here, but the friends that you see socially from the office, of course, co-workers who are really your friends, but the ones who are not do not belong.
But should we send them announcements, or will they interpret that as just a crass request for gifts?
Some people interpret everything as a request for gifts. But announcements are the traditional way of letting people you think might be interested know about the wedding. And let me put in a suggestion here. Do you remember the old at-home cards?
Oh, goodness, we had those at my wedding.
We did?
My first wedding.
Oh.
But they don't use those anymore, do they? Then it was to tell people when you'd be back from your honeymoon. Samantha and Dirk are only taking a weekend.
Yes, but I have a whole new purpose for them. What's your married name going to be? Applegum? Dearborn? Mrs. Dirk Dearborn? Miss Samantha Dearborn?
You tell me which is correct.
I like your attitude, but your own name is your own choice. We live in chaotic times, and there are 5 different systems being used at once. And I'm only suggesting that you use the at-home cards to tell people what you want to be called.
Ms. Samantha Hope Applegum Dearborn, Mr. Dirk Scott Dearborn, will be at home after the 4th of July.
And I only ask that if people guess wrong and don't use the name the way you want them to, don't blow up at them and start carrying on about how your husband doesn't own you.
But he doesn't. All right.
What am I supposed to do? So far, all I've heard about is painting dirty words on the car.
Not for me, you didn't. You're a sort of general manager for the bridegroom, and you act as a liaison to the groomsmen. You produce the ring at the altar and a toast at the wedding. No, this one is not supposed to be offensive either. Just something simple like to Samantha and Dirk, and a few words about her beauty and his good fortune.
And the junior bridesmaid who should have been maid of honor but isn't.
You run around telling your sister how beautiful she looks, just like a princess in a fairy tale.
Any words of wisdom for the maid of honor?
Well, you act as a sort of lady-in-waiting to the bride. You fuss over her train, and you hold her bouquet at the altar. And you also provide emotional help. If she has another last-minute panic and says she doesn't want to get married, reassure her that she doesn't have to go through with it. You will take Dirk out and give him a few cozy drinks and explain it to him. That always makes the bride pull herself together in a hurry.
Don't you dare. Some of us are planning to give Samantha a shower.
I was planning to do that.
Well, that's very kind of you, but showers are not given by relatives or prospective relatives. Friends do that, and if the maid of honor wants to do that, that's extremely charming of her.
We were going to give Dirk a bachelor dinner, you know, one of those really good ones where he gets arrested at the end and doesn't make the wedding. But Sam wanted to have the rehearsal dinner the night before instead.
You could go in on the shower with the bridesmaids and have it for both of them, or do a co-ed version of the bridesmaids' luncheon. These events are not obligatory. It's very nice that you want to do them, but do them in a way that suits yourselves. And it's understood, isn't it, that the bridegroom's parents are not being assigned the rehearsal dinner?
No, but we want to do it. I mean, Adelaide and Courtney and I.
How nice. Well, that should settle everything.
I hate to ask this, but now please, don't jump all over me, but isn't there any way that we can say, gently discourage people from sending a bunch of things that we have absolutely no use for? I mean, even if it means putting no presents on the invitations?
No presents? Are you crazy?
No, because you're not even supposed to be thinking about receiving presents. It's supposed to be voluntary and rather a surprise to you. You know, a wedding present is not a ticket of admission to a wedding. Oh, all right, I'll tell you how to do it. But you must do it indirectly. Tell people who might be asked, such as your parents and your attendants, to say something general. We like modern things, or we have all the appliances we need, but we're collecting china. Something that gives them some leeway about how much to spend and what to find. They can always press for more details if they want to. Bridal registries are all right because the people have to come to them to inquire what you want. It's sort of like using a department store Santa Claus as a middleman. Well, if we all feel better, I'd like to propose a toast to Samantha and Dirk.
Hey.
Oh, I meant to tell you this earlier. You can't drink to yourselves. You have to stay there looking foolish and rather pleased while we drink to you. And then on the next round, you can belt one.
Okay.
And now to all of you.
And a candy.
Yes, we all decided to go on with the wedding. The guests are arriving on time. Oh, look, there's the second Mrs. Dearborn, Courtney. It was conceded that she is legally married and cannot be excluded or even subtly humiliated. Candy, whom we were all eagerly awaiting, has been reclassified as Grandpa's fiancée and/or common-law wife. We're classifying Candy's dress as a conversation piece. Grandpa loves the Daisy May look, as you can see. There's no such thing as fashionably late for weddings, funerals, or my dinner parties. The Strivers have asked Mr. Applegum's parents to sit with them. Divorces notwithstanding, they remain the bride's grandparents. The Mulches. Dorcas has solved her problem with the bride's white dress by wearing one herself as her own little private joke. But she will be chuckling alone, except for the ever-faithful Leonard, who will laugh at anything, because everybody else is now too polite to point out that it's wrong for guests to wear white or black to weddings. Adelaide Dearborn is sorely tried with Courtney behind her and Candy nearby, but thanks to good manners, she will emerge triumphant. Although the bride's mother is seated last, this is not part of the ceremony to be treated rigidly, and we will admit latecomers. Here are their closest friends and Fiona. They had to tie Fiona to a chair to do her up like this, but she was secretly pleased with the result. Keith conceded that it would not ruin his image to wear a dinner jacket as long as he could still behave like himself. Nicole was allowed to remain pregnant. Megan has resolved to make bathroom curtains out of her dress tomorrow, figuring that that will be the only use she will get out of it again. The bride's father is giving her away because he is her father, regardless of his credit rating. This veil lifting and kiss is not from the photographer's or anyone else's checklist. It is spontaneous and one of those magic moments that Samantha is likely to remember most fondly. Unscheduled moment is when the formal recessional dissolves a bit because Adelaide Dearborn forgot about Courtney and Candy and her joy for her son. In that sense, it is the bridal couple's day. Those who care about them are putting aside their own petty differences and focusing on Samantha and Dirk's happiness. Even the Mulches, although they're still grieving for their bird. The reception is, after all, a party, so there's little pre-planned choreography. A receiving line, yes, because that is the most efficient way to give everyone a chance to greet everyone else. The bride's mother, as hostess, heads the line with the bridegroom's mother next to her. Fathers are optional here. In this case, they voted to do their hostly duties at the punch bowl instead. The custom is to say best wishes to the bride, congratulations to the bridegroom, and what a beautiful wedding to everyone else. Asking the maid of honor, so when are you getting married, is decidedly incorrect, but it inevitably happens anyway, and the answer is a firm, you'll be the first to know. Bringing a present instead of sending one to the house before or after the wedding is not just incorrect, but a nuisance because it's likely to get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, what's this? Wow. I think he's supposed to put it over on the other table.
The wedding party is simply too busy to do anything but put it aside for later and hope for the best. The bride is cheerfully resigned to having her makeup messed up by nice kisses. In fact, everyone here finally understands that wedding guests are guests, not an audience, and they have to be treated with consideration, tolerance, and good humor, whatever they do. Some people learn the photographer is actually taking candid shots, which is why the guests didn't have to stand around waiting for an hour while he absconded with the wedding party. And look what the parents have learned. Adelaide Dearborn is behaving with dignity and charm. which rattles Courtney, who had expected to outshine her predecessor.
You seen candy? Not that kind of candy.
There is no thought of rivalry on either part when Henry Stryver cuts in on Irwin Applegum's dance with the bride. They find that it's not so difficult, after all, for them both to be her daddy.
He says, can you make one for me in white?
Dirk, don't you and your bride want to be off now?
Why? We're having such a great time.
Well, other people can't leave until you do, and also you don't want to make it too clear that the most novel thing that you can think of to do now is to stay all night at a party.
But what about tomorrow? We got so many friends in from out of town.
Dirk, enough is enough. Bye-bye, dear.
Okay.
This was not a perfect wedding, fortunately. Even if they could have controlled everyone's behavior, if everything had gone off exactly as pre-planned, well, there wouldn't be anything to remember later, except the rerun of a stiff or childish and selfish dream. Instead, they celebrated with dignity and pleasure a sacrament and tradition among that idiosyncratic collection of characters who are their family and friends. It was a festive and gala event, and everyone had a memorable time. But let us hope it was not the happiest day of this young couple's life. In that case, we would have to believe that everything from this moment on, meaning the marriage itself, would all be downhill.
Thank you.